Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Newsroom. I'm your host, Khalid. But today is Friday, the 5th of July, 2024. And these are the stories that we will be highlighting during the course of the show. We will begin with Pakistan's stance as far as the Palestine-Israel war and Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir is concerned. We all know that Pakistan has been on different fora highlighting it. The latest forum where our Prime Minister Shehbazsharif Sahab highlighted it was the SCO Heads of State Summit, as well as the SCO Plus moot that happened as part of the SCO organizations, different meetings that happen every year. Now, our Prime Minister highlighted the atrocities that are being committed not only in Palestine but also in the Indian illegal occupied Kashmir region, and he of course talked about different modalities on how to move forward as to finding a solution and to move towards a durable and long-standing solution to these two issues and other issues also that confront the world. This is going to be our first segment, Pakistan's stance as far as Palestine is concerned, or Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir is concerned, within the ambit of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. Then we are going to talk about Palestine's war against Israel. Today is day 273 of that war, and despite the fact that there seems to be a ray of light or some hope as far as a ceasefire or a truce agreement is concerned, there is still the increase in brutalities and the injured as far as Palestine is concerned. Israel is not stopping at any, and is going to all lengths, whether it be in Rafah, whether it be in Gaza, to increase the number of fatalities or those who have been injured. The latest numbers are 38,011 who have been butchered, while 87,445 people have been wounded since this war began on the 7th of October last year. Then we are going to talk about the elections that have happened in the United Kingdom, and Rishisunak has resigned as the Conservative Party leader as well as the Prime Minister, and Labour leader Keirstarmer has become the Prime Minister after meeting the King Charles III, and of course he was giving the blessing. Keirstarmer said, "Change begins now, it feels good and I have to be honest." This is what he said to a cheering crowd. This is going to be our third segment, and finally we are going to talk about the 25th martyrdom anniversary of Captain Colonel Sher Khan Shaheed. He was born in district Suwabi of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa in 1970, and during the Kargil conflict on the line of control in the year 1999 he emerged as a symbol of mettle and courage and inflicted heavy losses on the Indian forces while defending the 5 strategic posts at the height of 17,000 feet, and laid down his life and of course was martyred. We remember him every year since then, and today also is no exception. Let's begin with our first story, and that concerns Pakistan's stance as far as Palestine and Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir is concerned within the ambit of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. We've been joined by Dr. Munawar Hussain to discuss more on that. Dr. Sahab, thank you very much to have joined us on the SCO Plus Summit that happened in Astana in Kazakhstan. There were important statements that were given by the Prime Minister on Palestine and illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, but let's show you what our Prime Minister had to say as far as the Palestine issue is concerned.
Commission of Inquiry has rightly concluded that Israeli acts amount to war crimes, and according to the International Court of Justice, a plausible genocide for which Israel must be held to account. In line with the spirit of today's meeting, we must call upon the international community, in particular the UN Security Council, to uphold its responsibility to ensure an immediate ceasefire, free flow of humanitarian assistance, and protection of civilians in entire Gaza.
We've been joined by Dr. Munawar Hussain. He's a foreign affairs expert. Dr. Sahab, thank you very much to have joined us. Dr. Sahab, in of course hearing what our Prime Minister had to say in Astana regarding Palestine, our Prime Minister has urged the international community, especially the United Nations Security Council, to uphold the responsibility to ensure an immediate ceasefire in Gaza. How crucial, in your point of view, is the role of the international community, especially the UNSC, when it comes to ensuring an immediate ceasefire in the besieged region?
Thank you very much, Omar Bhai, for having me in the show. Let me explain the main features of Pakistan's policies on these two very important issues. Number one, we find consistency in Pakistan's policy by promoting a principled stance on Kashmir and Palestine. And these principled stance is based on like territorial integrity, self-determination, sovereignty, non-interference, so on and so forth. So these are given to resolve the issues as per United Nations resolution. United Nations, which is known as a world government, which is the liberal institution. And this is the liberal agenda which we consistently pursuing. The second important feature of Pakistan's foreign policy is multilateralism. And when we are adopting this multilateral approach, it means that we are opposing unilateralism. A unilateralism which US adopted against Iraq, unilateralism which India adopted against Kashmir, unilateralism which Israel adopted against Palestine. So, in a globalized world, rational school of thought believes, liberalism believes that in a globalized world, not a single country is capable enough to resolve issues like climate, poverty, terrorism, extremism, pandemics, Islamophobia, economic injustices. So, we need to cooperate with each other to tackle such very important issues. And this is the reason I think in October, Pakistan is hosting SCO Summit. A third important feature of Pakistan's foreign policy is neo-functionalism. And what is that neo-functionalism? It says that, yes, we need to cooperate with each other in all fields, in all areas, but this cannot be done, this cannot be made effective without resolving long-standing issues, which is damaging humanity, which is damaging the peace in the world. So this is the reason that Prime Minister is demanding the immediate and unconditional ceasefire in Palestine and immediate free flow of humanitarian aid. Ji.
All right, Dr. Munawar, also, the Prime Minister has urged the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, while talking about Palestine, to outrightly denounce the Israeli barbaric acts, call for an immediate and unconditional ceasefire, which leads to the implementation of the two-state solution, something that Pakistan has been advocating for quite some time now. And of course, this includes the establishment of Palestine as a viable, secure and contiguous state on the basis of the pre-1967 borders with Al-Quds Al-Sharif in the capital. What should or what could be done by the SCO as far as these important points are concerned?
SCO potential to contain Israel to stop this genocide, this ethnic cleansing that they have adopted. And in your program, sir, some days back, I identified and described and explained the Israeli policy regarding the Palestine, because they have three options in front of them. Number one option was that they have to have a democratic Israel. They give right to the Palestinians, which is in fact the American model. Without discriminating any ethnic community, which they don't like, because through this or by adopting this idea, they would ignore or reject the Jewish state. The second option that they had, the apartheid state, which they don't like to be known in the world. Actually, they are apartheid. And the third option is the ethnic cleansing to make Palestinians unlivable. By increasing the cost of their lives, by making the infrastructure obsolete. So this is what they are doing. And now it is the responsibility of the United Nations, and we know that United Nations cannot be effective without its members. And United Nations is unfortunately divided between West and the global South. So therefore, SCO is a chance, it has a potential to resolve this issue and to convince Israel to stop this genocide, because many SCO members, they have good relationship with Israel. For instance, Azerbaijan, for instance, Turkey has a trade relations, for instance, India has a good relation. So, I mean, they can pressurize Israel to stop this genocide and let humanitarian aid to flow freely.
All right, Dr. Munawar, also Pakistan at the, our Prime Minister, in fact, at the SCO Plus mood said that the United Nations needs to ensure the implementation of its resolution for peaceful settlement of all the long-standing disputes. And there are two very important long-standing disputes. The first is that of Palestine and the second is that of illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir. Prime Minister has also reaffirmed Pakistan's commitment to multilateralism and to pursue the just and peaceful resolution of all these disputes. What should be the global endeavor as far as finding a global or a lasting solution or a resolution is concerned when it comes to these two important issues? Will multilateralism kind of prove to be an important factor in this respect?
That multilateralism is the only option to resolve these issues, which are in fact long-standing issues. And what American policymakers, strategic thinkers, they are suggesting America since the end of the Cold War that America must have this multilateralism. But unfortunately, what is going on in the United Nations, though the members of the United Nations, they want a free Palestine. We have example of the resolution which was passed in the UN General Assembly. But unfortunately, the Security Council, which has a power, they are divided. I mean, the Western powers, they are inclining towards Israel. So this is the reason that the resolution either on Kashmir or Palestine, they seem to be very ineffective. So what in the personal capacity or by joining hand on the platform of SCO, I think many nations, as I already mentioned, many nations, they can pressurize Israel through different tactics and through different instruments by stopping aid, by having diplomatic pressures, by isolating Israel so that Israel can stop this genocide.
There are so many similarities, Dr. Munawar, between what is happening in Palestine and the situation currently in illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir. There seems to be an emulation of a lot of things that are happening in Palestine in the illegally region as well. The Prime Minister talks about respecting the universally recognized principles of sovereignty, territorial integrity and people's fundamental right to self-determination. The people in Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir have been waiting since decades to get this inalienable right to self-determination as enshrined by the United Nations resolutions. Do you feel the SCO could play some kind of role either in pressurizing India to do so, or in pressurizing or requesting the important allies of India to pressurize India?
Omar bhai, if you ask this question from the Indians, they would say no. But if you ask any Pakistani, they would say yes. Because Indians, they have the viewpoint that this is anti-American bloc. And in fact, the Western countries, they are taking SCO as an anti-American bloc. And some extent they are right, and some extent they are not right, in fact. So this is the reason that Indians, they have kept a low-grade presence in the SCO Summit. And they have sent their foreign minister, Narendra Modi, who is the Prime Minister of India, did not take part or did not participate in this summit. So now Chinese and Russians, they are trying that India must be out of American influence. And they are also trying Pakistan must be out of American influence. So for them, India, in fact, is an important country. So what they would do, they can do it through the diplomacy. They can influence India by establishing their leverage over India to resolve the Kashmiris issue and to ease the Kashmiris and to end this open prison, which is in fact the biggest prison in the world.
Dr. Munawar, also Pakistan's Prime Minister says that Pakistan will continue to oppose resorting to unilateral and illegal use of threat or force and combating terrorism in all its forms and manifestation. Aren't these two intertwined or interrelated? That is the terrorism as well as the illegal use of threat or force. And if so, the two examples that come to our mind again are that of Palestine and illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir. How have you seen Pakistan's role? If you look as a journalist, Dr. Munawar, how do you view Pakistan's role over the years as far as advocating for these two important issues is concerned?
Pakistan, it is a middle range power. Pakistan strategically is very important for SCO and for whole the world because it is the zipper of the civilization. So it has say, but unfortunately, since we have internal problems, once we would resolve it, we would increase our influence. But this is no doubt in it that Pakistan consistently promoted the humanity, the Charter of the United Nations, multilateralism, and Pakistan consistently favoring and supporting all those movements which are based on right of self-determination. So from that very perspective, Pakistan is a country, and this is the reason that India always trying to pressurize Pakistan by labeling Pakistan that Pakistan is promoting terrorism. But actually, this is the India which is promoting terrorism in Pakistan and outside of Pakistan by establishing this global death squad. And this is the Afghanistan which is promoting terrorism in Pakistan while not taking action against the TTP. But Pakistan, you see, always remains supportive to all peaceful movements and the resolutions which are adopted by the United Nations regarding the long-standing issues, and what we are doing efforts in that direction. Ji.
Another thing, Dr. Munawar, that is counter to humanity is the rise in Islamophobia that we have seen in the last few years. Do you feel, in your point of view, is Islamophobia also a direct or indirect result or impact of what is happening in Palestine and in illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir?
Yes, ethnic cleansing and hatred against any belief system or religion. I mean, this is not a good. And this is what going on, unfortunately, not only in Palestine, but sometimes we observe such incidents in Europe as well. And we are observing such incidents in India as well. So therefore, I mean, these forums are very important where we have to realize that we have to have a high accommodative level and where we have to tolerate each other and to live peacefully with each other. So these forums are very important. But what is going on in Kashmir, what is going on in Palestine, yes, we can link it because religion and belief system is a very important variable. In the case of Israel, what they are adopting the policies against the Palestine. In the case of Modi Saab, who is having this policies against the Kashmiris, the religion is involved in that, where there is a hatred against Islam, and these are very evident in their statements. Either Modi Saab or Benjamin Netanyahu, they have a hatred against the Muslims, and this is the reason that right-wing political parties, either in Israel or India, they are supporting Modi Saab and Netanyahu. This is based on this very important assumption that this is because of Islamophobia that they are having this genocide policies.
Do you feel SCO could be a very important forum now and in the future as well compared to other? We know that SAARC hasn't been as effective in the last few years as it should have been, but do you feel SCO is going to replace or be more effective than institutions such as SAARC as far as the resolution of issues such as Palestine or India illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, Afghanistan, or other issues that directly impact security in this region is concerned?
Omar Saab, let me give you the broader picture. In broader picture, what is the dream of United States of America at this moment? The biggest dream of US is to collapse China. And this is what China is carefully study the collapse of Soviet Union. And they have reached the conclusion that Soviet Union did not collapse because of the external pressures, but because of the internal weaknesses. And this is the reason that Chinese, they are working for making their economy dynamic, their society dynamic, by promoting education in their people. Secondly, Soviet Union was encircled by the neighboring states. They all became the part of CETO and CENTO, the part of containment. And here China has taken preemptive strike by developing trade relations with all neighboring states, including ASEAN. In fact, we must understand that ASEAN was the US bloc. And China proposed in 2001 a free trade agreement to ASEAN, and they signed a free trade agreement with China in 2001. And before this free trade agreement, Chinese trade with ASEAN was only $40 billion. And with America, it was about $135 billion. But after this free trade agreement in 2022, U.S. trade with ASEAN increased from 135 to $445 billion. But with China, it increased from $40 billion to $975 billion. So this is what the Chinese they did. But thirdly, they established this Belt and Road Initiative, which Pakistan is also the part of this. And this Belt and Road Initiative promoted the very effective infrastructure in the world. Fastest train, railroad, the road network, the buildings, so in all over the world. And this is what the nations, they saw it and they say, oh, it is very good. They started joining this. So this is the reason that Chinese, they have established different multilateral forums like ASEAN and the BRICS, where they are trying to make American policy of containment ineffective and to resolve the global South issues which are ignored by the North, by the global North, and by making an international institution ineffective. So since United Nations, which is based on partisan, in fact, seems to be ineffective, so therefore such forum, SCO, they become very, very important. And this is the reason these forums are not only to promote economic cooperation and social cooperation, but these forums are becoming very important and very significant as far as politics is concerned, and resolving the long-standing political issues in the region and beyond, like Palestine and Kashmir.
Thank you very much, Dr. Munawar, Hussain, Foreign Affairs expert, to have joined us, to have talked to us about the SCO, its importance, and of course Pakistan's role within the ambit of the SCO as far as the resolution of long-standing disputes such as Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir and Palestine is concerned. Let's come to our second story, which is at day 273 of the Israel-Palestine conflict. Osama Muhammad Nazzal joins us from Jenin. He's a Palestinian journalist. Osama, thank you very much to have joined us. Osama, Israeli airstrikes have killed 5 Palestinians, including 3 children in northern Gaza's Jabalia and a couple in the southern city of Khan Yunis. Israeli forces continue their military operation in Gaza city's Shujaya neighborhood, where they have claimed to have killed 100 Palestinians. The latest figures show 38,011 people who've been butchered by Israelis. More than 87,400 have been wounded since the 7th of October. What are you foreseeing, Osama?
Yeah, so Israel is continuing its genocidal campaign against the Palestinians. As you mentioned, they killed a whole family today in Gaza. And by the way, Israel is invading once again the northern part of Gaza, although a month ago it declared that it finished the mission there and it ended the Palestinian resistance. But today we see the Israeli occupation army, the Israeli warriors, the Israeli tanks returning to the same spot, demolishing more Palestinian homes, killing more Palestinian civilians and more Palestinian families. So this is the Israeli doctrine today. Kill as many Palestinians as possible, because Israel is implementing its genocidal ethnic cleansing policy against the Palestinians. It doesn't want to see any living Palestinian, either in Gaza or in the West Bank. My dear, I'm speaking from the West Bank, from Jenin city. Today morning, Israel stormed into Jenin city and its refugee camp, and it killed 7 Palestinians. Some of them were set on fire. Israel is burning the Palestinians alive. And this is the new way of murder that Israel is using against the Palestinians.
Osama, what about these peace talks that recently have kind of shown some kind of positivity, optimism? Israeli officials also say they're cautiously optimistic as far as these talks are concerned. Israel's Mossad spy chief has departed for Doha as the head of this Israeli delegation to meet with Qatar's prime minister before the beginning of these talks. Recep Tayyip Erdogan, who's a Turkish president, calls on Western countries to pressurize Israel to accept this proposal. What are the expectations? Is something going to happen this time, or is it going to remain just like the previous resolutions and the previous proposals?
But as a Palestinian citizen, and all the people of Palestine wish that this war would come to an end. and a ceasefire would be achieved. But what the Palestinians are wishing is a permanent ceasefire and full stop of all the features of the Israeli genocidal campaign against the Palestinians in Gaza. What is being said is a temporary ceasefire with hope that they can negotiate after the end of phase one of this ceasefire process, let me call it, and come to a permanent ceasefire. But nobody guarantees that Israel is going to agree to a permanent ceasefire. What the Palestinians are afraid of is to reach an agreement on phase one, temporary ceasefire, and after that, Israel would return again and resume a genocidal campaign against the Palestinians in Gaza. We hope that this time they are going to succeed with international effort to put real pressure on the Israeli occupation government in order to agree to a ceasefire and to stop murdering more Palestinian families, more Palestinian children, and more Palestinian women. We hope so.
We hope so as well, and of course we pray for that as well. Palestinians and the United Nations criticize what is being said as the largest seizure of land in the occupied West Bank in more than 3 decades. Why are Israelis or the Israeli government or the Israeli people continue to seize more and more land in the occupied West Bank? What is the game plan as far as these settlements is concerned, and also as far as the settlements in Gaza, because we are hearing a lot about what the Israeli game plan post this war is going to be as far as Israeli settlements within Gaza is also concerned. Can Israel be stopped somehow?
This shows the real face of the Israeli occupation government and the fact that Israel is not interested in any form of peace with the Palestinian people, as it is nibbling more land of the Palestinians in the occupied West Bank, as more settlements are built in the West Bank and in occupied Jerusalem, which is completely separated today from its Palestinian environs and Palestinian sphere, in implementation of the Israeli policy of Judaization of the city of Jerusalem, leaving no space for Muslims and the Christians in the city, and keeping all the city of Jerusalem for the Jewish colonizers and the Jewish settlers. What's happening here in the occupied West Bank, which is the seat of the Palestinian Authority, is not less dangerous than what's happening in Gaza. We have physical genocide in Gaza, and we have silent genocide in the West Bank, as Israel is leaving no more land for the Palestinians. In a few years from now, the Palestinian citizens of the West Bank will have no space for natural growth and for population increase, as they have no land to build on. The Israeli settlements are grabbing the land and all the natural resources belonging to the Palestinians.
Thank you very much, Osama Mohammed Nazzal, to have joined us from Jenin, to have given us the latest updates as far as this war is concerned, where more and more Palestinians are being killed with every passing hour. Thank you very much, and we'll continue to ask for updates from you in the near future as well. As far as Palestine is concerned, the EU Foreign Policy Chief Joseph Borrell and European Commission for Crisis Management Mr. Lenarčič have also expressed their concern over the Israeli army's orders to evacuate over 250,000 Palestinians from the eastern side of Khan Yunis in the southern Gaza Strip. At one end, they ask them to go to Rafah, from then they tell them to go to others, and that is how this whole to and fro of the Palestinians continues to move in this direction. What the fate of Palestinians is going to be as they move from pillar to post and they are being butchered is something that we can very easily see by the way things are moving along. Let's come to our third story, and that concerns the elections in the United Kingdom. Now, as far as the results of these elections are concerned, it has been a surprise for many and not so much as a surprise for so many others. To discuss these results, we've been joined by Dr. Hamid ALmashriqi, who joins us after quite some time. Hamid ALmashriqi, thank you very much to have joined us. I hope you and your family are doing well in the United Kingdom. Hamid, after 14 years of the Conservative government, Labour wins this general election in a landslide. 412 seats, 211 seats gained from the last election, and of course the Conservatives have lost 250 seats, and there are then the other numbers as well. Were these results expected, Hamid? What circumstances led to this sudden change after 14 years?
Thank you very much, Omar, and it's really a pleasure always here on PTV World, especially in your program. Yes, definitely. It is a little bit surprised, but as far as if you look at the performance of Tory government, especially the way the hip hop was going on for changing 3-4 prime ministers since David Cameron resigned after Brexit, then Boris Johnson, then Theresa May, then Liz Truss, then Rishisunak. It was anticipated that people are very much upset, I would say fed up from the current government because of the recession in the economy, because of the bad, I would say, governance, because of the, so many reasons, especially the critical crisis in NHS, and then, health system, then residence, housing, everything was messed up. And the people in Britain, I mean, it was historically that they re-elected Tory for 3 times and gave them 14 years. Normally in England as well, you may know that, I mean, it always maximum 4 to 8 years. It means 2 terms for one political party was a tradition. So, I mean, what Keir Starmer have achieved is not only due to his own popularity, it's mainly because of the bad governance and Tory party's failures to deliver to the public and to deliver to the Britain. And now it is going to be a very tough task and test for Keir Starmer. Sir Keir Starmer has become a new prime minister, but let me remind you, he has done so many promises to the nation within last 4 years that it is reminding me of a lot of promises our politicians does as well. One of his promise is to provide 1.5 million homes. He promises in Liverpool last year, and then he has promises again a huge number of government jobs, and then he has promised reduction in the taxes, and then he has promised about, I would say, reform in health sector, especially the NHS crisis. He wants to deal with it, and he has promised to decrease the interest rates so that mortgage rates will be down. So there are a lot of promises which he has to, fulfill now. Yes, people have definitely trusted on Labour government. Especially, I would like to mention that the way Scotland, in Scotland, SNP has been almost washed out. It was not expected that they will lose their almost 70% of their hold.
38 lead seats have been lost.
Yes. Yeah. And I would say that the credit goes to Nazzal, who's head of Labour Party in Scotland, and he was tireless, working hard to re-alive Labour in Scotland, and he proved it. And that has saved Scotland being a separate from United Kingdom. Otherwise, SNP's agenda is to go for a new referendum and call for a separate country as a Scotland. And now because Labour is going to be in hold of Parliament to representing Scotland, I think that I would say threat is gone for next about 10 years, that there is no threat for Scotland to be separate from United Kingdom. So Nazzal have...
Hamid, I'd like to understand a little bit about what the policies are as far as the Labour Party is concerned when it comes to the United Kingdom's internal or external foreign policy or other policies. I'd like to just refer to the closing statements that Sir Keir Starmer made when he was addressing once he had accepted the post of the Prime Minister. He said that Britain will be better for your children. He says that only by determination can we serve your interest. He talks about using the mandate that has been given to him to deliver change, to restore service and respect to politics, and the era of noisy performance tread more lightly on the lives and unite our country. He talks about inviting everybody to join the government of service in the mission of national renewal. He says our work is urgent, we begin it today. uh, many statements, important promises that have been made in the past and now today as well. Will it be easy for Sir Keirstarmer to live up to these expectations?
To be honest, the way he got the mandate, 412 seats, and the way landslide victory, he is in a very strong position to take hard and difficult, actions as well and steps as well. It is going to be a great test for his leadership capability because he is one of the fewest persons in the history where he has become the prime minister straight away without having any, experience of running the government like ministry or being in power, because he was a crown prosecutor and he was in the government service but in a different capacity. So I believe that he has enough mandate to take all the hard steps, but at the same time people are expecting the relief from him. People are expecting, especially the general public is expecting much more relief in health sector, housing sector, taxation, as I said. And on the other hand, if you talk about the foreign policy, sadly I have to say that the I won't see a much difference in the foreign policy of Sir Keir Starmer and the previous Rishi Sunak or David Cameron's government, because as far as the war in Ukraine war is concerned, almost the both of them, they have the same stance. If we talk about Palestine issue, they have the same stance. They both were against ceasefire. So as far as international policies are concerned, they both are more towards right wing than the left wing. And on the other hand, one more point I want to make it that sadly, since after Brexit, United Kingdom have lost its too much importance in so many decision making processes of international issues or conflicts, because at that time, being a head of Europe or being the main representative of the Europe, UK has a lot to say. But since they chose themselves to Brexit, I think it will be very hard work for Sir Keir Starmer to regain the respect and the authority for United Kingdom to participate in decisive matters of world conflicts. There is a lot for United Kingdom to do, and I believe that Sir Keir Starmer can deliver it. But if he will not deliver it, that would be very heartbroken for the public who are expecting a lot from Sir Keir Starmer, as well as the current situation, or if we look at the international crisis across the world.
Hamid, Rishi Sunak also has resigned as Prime Minister and has stepped down as Conservative Party leader. He says to the people, I have heard your anger. What are the British people angry about when it comes to Rishi Sunak, and as far as the Conservative Party is concerned, where did they go wrong?
Said here and in another channel as well that Sir Keir Starmer's this victory is more of the defeat of Tory parties and more kind of a response from the public of their anger about the bad decision making of Rishi Sunak and his predecessors, because the reason is that like Rishi Sunak literally made so many unexplainable taxations and unexplainable burdens to the economy, tried to revive it, but actually it was for the common people. The inflation was the biggest problem. The price hike was the biggest problem. On the other hand, I am telling you with my own experiences that I had never seen hospital queues for 6 hours or 7 hours just for a normal checkup. Or if you have to see the GP, you have to wait for a day or sometime for a week. And same with ongoing queues for operations and other things. On the other hand, there were so many restrictions on pensions and other things. So people were very much, I would say, fed up from the policies of conservative government, and that is a clear reaction. So I would say that more than the popularity of Labour, it is a reaction vote of the public towards Labour in favor of Sir Keir Starmer.
All right, let's talk also about the results as far as other parties concerned. There seems to be a surge in support of the Liberal Democrats. Then the protest populist right-wing Reform UK party has also picked up support from the disgruntled Conservative voters to win some parliamentary seats. Then several pro-Palestine independent candidates have also secured wins. The Scottish National Party, we've talked about it, has what had party leader John Swinney said a very poor result, losing dozens of seats. How do you see these changes vis-a-vis the other parties like the Reform UK party, like the Liberal Democrats, like even the independents who have gained seats because of their pro-Palestine stance? Will that work in the favor of the policies that the United Kingdom has vis-a-vis Palestine? Will it create some kind of a balance as far as British politics are concerned?
To be honest, I'm not very hopeful that it would create any kind of balance because sadly, it's I'm not saying sadly, but it is, as a matter of fact, it's too heavy mandate. Gives you authority to take whatever decision you want to take. You know that for 4 years you are secure from the government. So Sir Keirstarmer would not have any kind of pressure to change his policy towards Palestine issue. But it is a great news that some of pro-Palestinian are going to speak about the right of, Palestinian and the atrocities going on there. But sadly, the Worker Party, who was the biggest supporter of Palestine and the cause of Palestine, under George Galway, they could not perform well. Even George Galway lost his own seat in Rochdale, where he was elected just 5-6 months ago. So, I would say there is a large number of supporter for pro-Palestine cause, but because they are scattered, they could not, manage the results which they should have. Although in everywhere, wherever George Galway's candidates were contesting, each of them, they got more than 4,000-5,000 votes from each constituency, which should have a say. On the other hand, Lib Dem, yes, they have regained their popularity after 2014 when Nick Clegg became the Prime Minister and Deputy Prime Minister, and he could not deliver the promises which he did while he was running for his campaign. And Lib Dem, since lost the trust of the people. So I think people still looking for a third option in United Kingdom. But we will have to see in coming years if Labour will fail to perform. Conservative have already failed. There is a very bright chance for third party or third force to come into power in next 4 to 8 years. So Lib Dem is one of the very important one for that.
All right, let's see what the coming weeks also have in store for the British people, the common man who are disgruntled with the current system. Thank you very much, Dr. Hamid ALmashriqi, to have joined us from the United Kingdom and to have given us an update as far as the British elections are concerned. I will just end with this statement by the new Prime Minister, who says now our country has voted decisively for change, for national renewal and the return of politics to public service. Thank you very much again, Hamid. Let's come to our last story, and that concerns the martyrdom anniversary of Captain Colonel Sher Khan Shaheed that is being observed today. The 25th Shahadat or martyrdom anniversary of Captain Colonel Sher Khan Shaheed, nishanehaider, is being observed today. He was born in district Swabi of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa in the year 1970. During the Kargil conflict on the line of control in 1999, he emerged as a symbol of courage and inflicted heavy losses on the Indian forces while defending the 5 strategic posts at the height of 17,000 feet in Gultari. He was martyred on this very day in the year 1999 while gallantly defending the motherland and was decorated with the country's highest gallantry award, that is of course the Nishaneh-Haider. The Armed Forces of Pakistan, Joint Chiefs of Staff Committee, Services Chiefs have also paid a heartfelt tribute to Captain Colonel Sher Khan Shaheed, Nishaneh-Haider. The ISPR also in a statement said exemplary leadership and unwavering courage of Captain Colonel Sher Khan Shaheed inspire us to defend Pakistan at all costs. It said that Sher Khan's heroism in the Kargil war etched his name in history with bravery, unshakable commitment and unwavering loyalty. Our Prime Minister also said a lot of good words, eulogized Captain Colonel Sher Khan Shaheed and paid tributes to him, and he said that Sher Khan Shaheed set an example of loyalty to the motherland, a sense of duty and fighting for the defense of the motherland without caring for his life, which will always be remembered. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we come to an end of today's newsroom. We'll see you inshallah on Monday with news stories and segments that pertain to you, us and Pakistan. Have a wonderful weekend, but stay safe as far as this heat wave is concerned. Allah Hafiz.